British trucks once rolled unchallenged across Europe's motorways, their distinctive red, white and blue liveries becoming symbols of British dominance. From Scandinavia to Spain, UK hauliers commanded the vital trade routes, reshaping European logistics. This is the story of how British truckers took over Europe and ruled the roads like no one else. For decades before the complications of modern border controls, British trucking firms established dominance across continental Europe. Drivers in UK-registered vehicles became familiar figures on every major European route, operating with a freedom and reach that made British haulage a force across the continent. These operators built reputations for reliability, developed extensive networks, and created an era when British trucks were everywhere on European roads. EU-based hauliers operate 80% of the trucks that pass through the Channel Tunnel and account for a similar proportion of the truck drivers, with such trucks also carrying the greater part of UK goods exports to the EU. Yet British operators carved out substantial market share in an industry dominated by continental competitors, establishing themselves as serious players in European logistics. The Irish Maritime Development Office valued Irish trade on the landbridge route at €21 billion, about 11% of annual merchandise trade in 2016, with 2 out of every 5 tonnes of goods exported to the continent transported via the landbridge. British territory served as the critical bridge connecting Ireland to Europe, with UK trucks operating alongside Irish vehicles on these lucrative routes. About 150,000 Irish vehicles use the landbridge each year, carrying about 3 million tonnes in annual volumes, with 2 million in exports and 1 million in imports. British operators competed for and captured portions of this massive traffic flow, demonstrating their capability to serve international logistics needs. British drivers operated across Europe with remarkable ease during the decades of EU membership and the periods before. Journey times to continental Europe can be less than 20 hours via the land bridge, but up to 40 hours for ro-ro traffic on the direct sea routes, and up to 60 hours for lo-lo services. The efficiency of the land bridge route through Britain made UK-based operations highly competitive for time-sensitive deliveries. Europe offers a far more expansive network of motorways, often with smoother surfaces and better planning, with facilities like secure rest stops equipped with showers, food and safe parking, far more common on the continent. British drivers mastered these superior continental road systems, becoming expert navigators of the extensive European motorway network. The UK's road system, particularly outside major motorways, is known for being narrow, winding, and often gridlocked, requiring drivers with precision skills to navigate tight spaces, busy city streets, and ageing infrastructure. British drivers brought hard-won domestic skills to European operations, their ability to handle challenging UK roads translating into confidence on continental routes. British haulage firms established depot networks across key European locations, creating infrastructure that supported regular continental operations. These forward operating bases allowed UK trucks to maximise utilisation by collecting return loads from European customers, maintaining profitability on both legs of international journeys. These are overwhelmingly small businesses, with 92% having fewer than 10 employees. Despite the fragmented structure of the British haulage industry, these small operators found ways to compete internationally, often specialising in particular routes or cargo types that played to their strengths. British drivers became familiar figures at loading docks. From Lisbon to Helsinki, they learned to communicate across language barriers, adapted to local customs at delivery points, and built relationships with continental customers who valued their professionalism. The distinctive British truck liveries became recognised symbols across European logistics networks. Previous to Brexit, research indicates that approximately 25% of lorry drivers in the UK were EU nationals. British firms benefited from recruiting experienced European drivers who brought continental knowledge and language skills, strengthening UK operators' ability to serve European markets effectively. British drivers who specialised in European work developed distinct expertise. They mastered the art of overnight ferry crossings, learned to navigate complex French péage toll systems, understood German autobahn protocols, and could handle the tight urban environments of historic European cities. British drivers adapting to EU driving signs and right-hand driving must stay vigilant, especially when switching between countries where road rules can shift quickly. The transition from left-hand UK driving to right-hand continental traffic became second nature to experienced British international drivers. Long-haul British truckers spent days or weeks on the road, sleeping in their cabs at continental truck stops, eating at roadside restaurants across multiple countries, and managing the isolation that came with extended time away from home. These drivers became ambassadors of British commerce, their professionalism and reliability building the reputation of UK haulage across Europe. British trucks carried billions of pounds worth of goods across European borders annually. Manufacturing components, retail products, agricultural goods and consumer electronics all moved in UK registered vehicles, supporting the complex supply chains that connected British industry to European markets. The total value of the UK-EU trade reached over $548 billion in 2024. British hauliers played crucial roles in facilitating this enormous trade relationship, providing the physical transportation that made commercial relationships function. The ability to move goods freely across European borders without customs delays or extensive paperwork made just-in-time manufacturing possible. British trucks delivered components to continental factories with precision timing, returning with finished products for UK distribution networks. This seamless integration of British and European logistics systems created efficiencies that benefited both economies. UK and EU hauliers are currently subject to the same safety and other technical requirements agreed at the EU level. This regulatory harmonization meant British operators could move freely across Europe without facing different technical standards in each country, simplifying compliance and reducing operational complexity. Driver Certificate of Professional Competence qualifications were recognised across all member states, allowing British drivers to work throughout Europe with their UK-issued credentials. Vehicle specifications, weight limits and safety standards aligned between Britain and the continent, eliminating technical barriers to cross-border operations. The European Community Licence allowed UK operators to conduct international haulage throughout the European Economic Area. This single authorisation, issued by British authorities, granted access to markets across dozens of countries, demonstrating the regulatory integration that facilitated British success in European haulage. British trucks funneled through key channel crossing points that served as gateways to the continent. The port of Dover handled the majority of UK-Europe truck traffic, with its efficient roll-on roll-off facilities allowing rapid loading and unloading of vehicles. The Channel Tunnel provided an alternative route, with Eurotunnel shuttles transporting trucks beneath the English Channel in approximately 35 minutes. These crossing points operated with remarkable efficiency during the era of free movement. Trucks queued briefly before boarding, crossed the Channel and drove off into France with minimal delay. The absence of customs checks meant that the physical crossing represented the only pause in otherwise continuous journeys from British loading docks to continental delivery points. British international hauliers invested in equipment suited to long-distance European operations. Trucks featured sleeper cabs that provided drivers with overnight accommodation, refrigeration units for temperature-controlled cargo, and specialised trailers designed for specific commodity types. UK operators maintained modern fleets to compete with continental rivals, purchasing vehicles from the same major manufacturers that supplied European competitors. British registered Volvo, Scania, DAF and Mercedes trucks became common sights on European motorways, their UK licence plates and company liveries the only visual distinction from continental vehicles. British firms equipped their trucks with tachographs and other monitoring equipment required under European regulations, ensuring compliance across all markets they served. Communication systems allowed dispatchers in Britain to coordinate with drivers anywhere in Europe, managing complex multi-country delivery schedules from UK headquarters. British operators leveraged several advantages in their European operations. The English language's widespread use in international commerce facilitated communication with customers across multiple countries. Britain's geographic position as a gateway between Ireland and continental Europe created natural traffic flows that British firms could exploit. UK hauliers developed expertise in mixed cargo operations, consolidating shipments from multiple customers into single loads that maximised trailer utilisation. This capability allowed British firms to offer competitive rates while maintaining profitability, particularly on routes where obtaining return loads proved challenging. The sophistication of British logistics software and planning systems gave UK operators technological advantages over some continental competitors. British firms pioneered computer-based route optimization and load planning tools that improved efficiency and reduced empty running. British trucks became iconic symbols of international commerce across Europe. The sight of UK-registered vehicles at continental truck stops represented the integration of British and European economies, physical proof of the commercial relationships that connected nations. European customers came to recognise and trust major British haulage brands. The liveries of prominent UK operators became familiar sights at loading docks across the continent, with their presence signalling reliability and professional service. British drivers earned reputations for punctuality and careful handling of cargo. Continental customers specifically requested British hauliers for sensitive or high-value shipments, demonstrating the respect that UK operators commanded in European logistics markets. Domestic activity represents 96.5% of British road carriers' operations, with GB registered fleet recording a volume of activity of 167 billion tonne kilometres in 2023 in the domestic segment. While domestic work dominated British trucking, the international component represented prestigious and profitable operations that generated disproportionate revenue relative to its share of total activity. British firms that specialised in European work built their entire business models around continental operations. These operators developed deep expertise in cross-border logistics, established extensive continental customer networks, and created competitive advantages through their specialised knowledge. The ability to move goods seamlessly between Britain and Europe enabled British manufacturers to operate as part of integrated European supply chains. UK factories relied on British hauliers to deliver components from continental suppliers and transport finished products to European customers, supporting the competitiveness of British industry. The era when British truckers dominated European routes represented the apex of UK international haulage. British operators moved millions of tonnes of goods across the continent annually, competed successfully against established European rivals, and built businesses that connected British commerce to markets across dozens of countries. British drivers mastered the challenges of continental operations, learned to work effectively across cultural and linguistic boundaries, and established reputations for professionalism that opened doors across Europe.